the present state carry is being either 0 or 1, the next state carry is always 0. This condition is called kill because the carry is not propagated and there is no effect of carry to the next stage. Next, the propagate state says that if present state carry is 0, the same carry is being propagated to the next stage, and the same carry is being propagated to the if we get the same carry in the next cycle, this is a propagate state. And irrespective of what is the present carry status, if we get 1 as a next stage carry status, it is known as a generate signal. So from this we can actually observe and build the KGP module which is represented there, find out this carry statuses for each bits for the two inputs. So the A0 and B0 here are 0 LSB bits of two inputs. The KGP 0 module computes the carry status of that two inputs. For example, if we have a number like, since 0 and 0 doesn't give any carry, the carry status for these two bits is taken as K, and the carry status for these two is taken as P. For this is G, and for this it's P. So 0, 1 and 1, 0 combinations always propagate the carry, and 0, 0 combinations will kill the carry, and 1, 1 combination will generate a carry. So now if we actually do the normal addition, we don't get any carry from here. That represents kill. Since the previous stage we didn't get any carry, the present stage carry is 0. That is propagated here as 0. Since it is 1, 1, the carry is generated, and that carry is propagated here, generated to the next stage. And since this is a propagate stage, this carry is being propagated here. So this is the carry chain that comes by observing the carry statuses. Extending this to an n-bit adder or n-bit parallel prefix circuit is to be built. And for this we get log n stages. So the example here shows 8-bit adder circuit. So after performing or after finding out all the carry statuses of 8 bits of two inputs, the next stage carry statuses are found from depending on previous stage carry status. So here in the first level, the carry status from the previous is represented, previous slide is represented, and then we actually take the previous stage, or like if we want to compute carry at the j, we consider j plus 1 or j minus 1 position carry status and we compute. That is the second stage. And for third stage, we take j minus 2. Since the till j minus 1 is computed, we take j minus second stage to compute j stage carry. Similarly, it is next we get j minus 4. So this procedure of propagating carry for 3 more stages gives us the final carry statuses. If the final carry status is K, the carry is taken as 0. If the final carry status is G, the carry is taken as 1. The propagate state doesn't occur at all because the propagation has already completed, and then since either kill or generate happens. So once we get this carry statuses at the final level, we need to actually XOR these carry statuses with the input bits to get a final sum. This is the algorithm that is being used in this design of feature extraction engine. Next, for the multiplier design, usually the full adder or the multiplier is, okay, in the first step we actually derive the partial products for the multiplier. We need to generate the partial products for the multiplier. which is actually done using AND gates. After the partial products are generated, we need to reduce these partial products using either array structures or tree structures. Array structures usually have the disadvantage of having a longer path, critical path delay. So we use a tree structures here. For tree structures, we have something called carry save adder, which is slightly different from a full adder. Carry save adder chains are actually used in any tree structure based multipliers. So in a full adder, what we actually do in a full adder chains, if you consider, we have sum and the carry to be propagated to the next full adder. Similarly, the carry propagation is being done in the full adder chains. But in the carry save adder chains, the carry is not propagated, but the carry is saved. So it turns out to be the stages like so when we this is a half adder, we get a sum here. The carry is saved here instead of propagating to the next stage. Here again we get a sum, we get a carry. Here again we get a sum, we get a carry. And this leftover bit is taken. Here we get a sum and a carry. So again we reduce this stage to get the final stage. This is actually the Wallace method, Wallace tree structure for which the reduction happens all the way from the start till end. However, there are better structures called Dada structures for which we don't actually reduce from LSB to MSB. Rather, for this example, we reduce only the required columns. For this example of 8-bit multiplier, the second stage of an 8-bit multiplier here needs only 6 partial products. So to obtain only 6 partial products, we reduce the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6th column, 7th column, and 7, 8, 9, and 10 columns. Only those columns are reduced, leaving all others. So the resource utilization or the area is drastically reduced. Similarly, from the second stage to third stage, only 4 partial products are retained, and the reduction happens. Reduction doesn't happen where 4 or less than 4 partial products are present. Such is the reduction mechanism for a Dada tree structure. This actually has an advantage of low power and high speed. So the MAC multiply accumulator structure is something, a normal conventional structure, which we actually take we first multiply the inputs, we store the inputs, and then we give back, and then we add. So we have multiply, add, accumulate, or we have another register. This is a conventional MAC structure that is being used even in this project. So next comes the logarithmic computation. As discussed, the logarithmic computation can be done using any sort of Taylor series or complete Chordic algorithm, or there are many algorithms, and there are also algorithms like complete lookup table methods. However, we have used a hybrid lookup method, which actually balances the computation load as well as lookup the memory. So here, let's say X is our input. We represent that in the binary as shown as from B1 to Bn, n bits. And this can be actually divided into 3 non-overlapping blocks from B1 to Br, and again 0 to Br plus 1 to Bs, and then again Bs plus 1 to Bn. However, if we represent this as a 3 non-overlapping blocks, again we have a disadvantage of having more memory. So what we actually do is we take only 2 subtables with an overlap, and then the overlap part is again subtracted. So yeah, the first table is of size yes. like the first S bits of the total N bits is taken in the first table. The second table, however, has R bits of overlap with the first table. And then the total size of the second table comes down to N plus R minus S. So the idea here is that we first get the results of the first two tables, and then we subtract the overlapping parts or the extra values. We compensate the extra values by subtracting the intersection parts of the two tables. So that the f of x is the f of x equation denotes that. And since each is denoted by 16 bits, we have three tables over here. One is of S size, one is of R, N plus R minus S size, and the overlap part is of R bits, and that third table, which the third values which are to be subtracted, is of R bits. So that comes down to total 4.128 KB. The researchers have found that we can actually choose any S or any R. That depends on the accuracy required and the number of bits required for the representation. So the researchers have proved that S is equal to 10 and R equal to 4 gives a reasonable amount of accuracy and reasonable amount of storage required. So performing log on both sides gives us performing log on the logarithmic on the tables actually